Are you confident that they can find a way to win in these remaining 11 Premier League games and the FA Cup games that might come as well?
Well, some difficult obstacles in front of us and a very difficult one coming up, but they have found a way so far. So we have to be confident in the process and us to get into this position, league position, and in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. There's all different ways, I've always said, to win a game of football, and the boys have found a way, but we understand the challenges ahead of us.
Norwich have picked up with their last two results. Is this a much tougher game than it might look on paper with their league position?
No, it's always been a tough game. I'm going to keep saying it regarding the Premier League fixtures, results. Last weekend, I thought, sort of epitomised what the Premier League was about. Fantastic result for Norwich, for Watford, for West Ham, Bournemouth going close. So the division is what it is. Huge amount of respect for Daniel and his work. Obviously know close up what they're about, and they do us. We've had some great battles with them. Fine lines always. As I said when we played them down there, very much their team's been disrupted through injuries right the way through the season. Thankfully, we've had a healthy group to pick from, and touch wood, that'll be the case between now and the end of the season. But when you lose your best players, listening to Harry Redknapp this morning, coming into work, and we all feel and think that we might have the answers tactically and from a motivational point of view and a man management point of view. But when you lose your best players, that makes the job double difficult, and Daniel has not had his best players to pick from in the settle side right the way through. So, but I'm sure, as I would believe, there is light at the end of the tunnel for them, and who knows, they win a couple of games. This season isn't done for them, and they'll come to Brammall Lane on Saturday afternoon in great spirits after a fantastic result last night.
Your result on Tuesday night, was the goal for David McGoldrick a massive plus for you? You've talked about his performances this season, but just to get him up and running on the goal chart, can that kickstart a run in the Premier League now?
Certainly, yeah, it happened in the Championship. We know chances are at a premium in the Premier League, but he's a fantastic footballer, and when he gets on a roll, he can score, he can finish. We all know that here. The longer, obviously, it goes on, the more difficult it becomes for David. But, I think you saw the reaction of the players and our supporters, how much we appreciate his efforts, what he's thought of at this football club, still gets in those positions. He's been out for a little while, so for him to come back and score was great. For us to get through to the next round was great. Really tough, stubborn opposition. As always, progression in these games is the most important thing. Performance isn't. Of course, I think all managers would like your team to play well and win. We did enough, but it was a difficult game, and for David to get that goal, and for us to progress into the next round was made it a decent night for us against, as I said, some talented players. I talked about it afterwards. We know the Championship inside out, and we know how much quality is in that Championship. And Sheffield United, as a Championship side, has turned many a Premier League team over, and it wouldn't have been the biggest result of the competition if Reading had turned us over. So to get the job done, for David to score, bit of a long journey back. Would have minded that to be a little bit shorter, but and obviously the extra time. So there's a few tired bodies out there, but this is the conditioning, why the players work ever so hard, away from the lights, as we talk about, to get themselves ready and to go again against Norwich on Saturday.
A home tie in the quarterfinals. Are you happy with the draw?
Yeah, I am. Always, when the draw was last night, hopefully that 2-ball came out straight away, which was great. And a home tie. I just think you look at the quality of the teams left in the competition. in their league positions, and potentially Man United tonight against Derby. Obviously a tough tie, as ours was at Reading, as possibly Leicester's was against Birmingham. Took them till the 85th, 86th minute to get past that one. Manchester City against Sheffield Wednesday. So these are all tough games, and Man United have got a tough game tonight. But if they go through, obviously you look at the quality it left in the draw, and at this stage of the competition, there was always going to be a tasty tie out there for us. But to get it at home at Brammall Lane was great, and more we could have asked for.
Can I ask you about the Eric Dyer situation last night? What was your take on that? And would you support your player in that situation if he reacted in a similar way?
Well, it's an emotional game, especially when family are involved. I think the Tottenham manager hit the nail on the head. What he did wasn't right, wasn't great. But it's a natural reaction, natural instinct of protection from Eric. He's a passionate guy. He wants to win, and it's obviously a difficult night for him and his teammates. And when things like that happen in the crowd, it's just a natural reaction. Is it the right one? Possibly not. But I think obviously from Tottenham's point of view and the manager's point of view, he summed it up perfectly, really.
Can you approach that cup tie with a degree of confidence against Arsenal? Because the disparity between Arsenal and Sheffield United has never been smaller. You've had 4 points off them this year.
Well, I mean, as we talk about always, form and games before go out the window. I'm not really up to speed. Is it a one-off game or what? Is it a replay? I'm not too sure.
There will be VAR.
Yeah, VAR, but obviously decided on the day or night as it might be. But great game for us to look forward to. Arsenal definitely picked up since Mikel's gone in. We had a great night and a great result against them early on in the season, but that counts for nothing. They're looking for silverware as much as any team are at this stage of the competition. But we're at home, and it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be a great occasion, and hopefully a great performance by my team. And I know what they're thinking now, what they have always thought about any game in the Premier League, and especially this round, this stage of the competition. And I just imagine all the supporters are thinking that. But whoever we pulled out would be a fantastic game home and away, and it wouldn't have been a foregone conclusion if we get beat or if we get a result. But obviously it's a great incentive now to take that next step forward and progress.
Ender Stevens was the one injury quandary. How's he today?
Fit. Yeah, good. Fit. Flecky's fit. Ender's fit. So no risks on Tuesday night. We wanted to look at Xander playing in that position. We were delighted with his performance. As I said, it was a tough night. It was a stern examination of ourselves as a Premier League club, which I fully expected, and we came through it. Skipper's fit, scored, which is great. Ollie McBurney got minutes under his belt. Yeah, not ideal that we had another 30 minutes on, and as I said to Tim, not ideal that the M4 and it was a bit Armageddon around the ground at the death, but they recover enough. It's all to play for. It's a state of mind as far as I'm concerned. You can feel tired. Players want to get out there and play, and I'm sure everybody will be fit and raring to go on Saturday afternoon. It
presents quite the quandary, doesn't it? So you've got Berger, obviously, who plays essentially in the Norwood role, who's done that for 2 or 3 years very well. It's how do you accommodate all of that?
Well, you can't, obviously, but this is why we're constructing. This is why we're signing players, and we're looking at younger players as well. I know there will be always an initial judgment on players, as there always is, but for me, this is an obvious long-term signing. He's had some tough games to cope with. Not easy at Palace away. Obviously, the Bournemouth game at home, his debut, and home to Brighton, and then he's had the game at Reading. So he wouldn't be used to the intensity. He wouldn't be used to the intensity that we train at. So it's him to get up to speed, but he's got undoubted class and undoubted ability, and I've been delighted with him, and he'll progress and he'll be a really big player for us. And in there you've got Norwood, you've got Lundstrom, you've got Fleck, you've even got Mo Besic, you've got Ben Osborne who can play. So when I'm constructing a group, you look for different options, different permutations, different formations, and we can play 2 midfield players in there. We can play a sitter and 2 on as we have done, and we're well covered. And that for me has always been the key when we're constructing a squad at the top of the pitch. We've got different types of players, and delighted we've got all those options.
Because people forget that you will have had 22 or 3 players that know what they're doing to the letter of the law, and here's a guy with big expectation because of the money who's expected to fit in straight away.
Well, always, but I'm a football man and I know it doesn't always work. And I'll roll back the years to Jack O'Connell. I think, after 3 games, people would have thought he'd have been a dud and let's get rid of him. His performance at Southend, an own goal and not a great performance, not a great team performance, not a great performance by him. And then he gives a penalty away at Millwall in the last minute. I suppose everybody would be looking at me and thinking, who have we signed? But I think, I deserve the faith of our supporters in terms of who we've signed, why we've signing them, the age that we're signing them, the price that we're signing them at. And Jack O'Connell has become a major player for us. So we've got to give people time. There is always expectations, individual AF players and team. Those have gone up through the roof, through performances and where we are as a football club. I understand that, I accept that. I can't control it. All I can control is the stuff that is within what I can and try to. But we'd rather have this than a very low expectation and not signing players. So we feel we're in a good place. Anders is fitted in seamlessly as a person, and he'll get better. He'll get up to speed, and as they all will in time.
How do you view this period in terms of planning then? Because it was madness over Christmas and then into January. You then have a break twice in force because of obviously Villa's success in getting to the final. It turns out April's now going to be mad one way or the other. Slow, quick, slow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're ready. We're set. We've been conditioned to it in terms of the fixtures from a championship point of view. We've come on strong. 3 out of the last 4 years. 2 out of the last 3 out of the last 4. And we need to be. We work very hard in training. We condition the boys to an high level, and of course, I know the Premier League is different intensity, different quality, standards, athletes, and whatever. But we're ready. We've not been let down in terms of how we've approached it and the physical shape that the players are in. I was delighted, as I said, after the winter break, how we came back against Brighton and really drove the game forward and were dominant and dominated a good side physically and from the way we played, and look for a win and look strong towards the end of the season, end of the game, and so we'll deal with all the fixtures that are in front of us and get the maximum out of them.
How different maybe, or how do you view Norwich now as opposed to the Norwich team that you played down at Carrow Road?
I believe that they've been consistent in the performances all season. We all talk about them, but it is the fine lines, it is the penalty box areas that people talk about that might, I should imagine from Daniel's point of view, be the difference between them being in the position and being, 5 or 10 points better off. And I've talked about from an injury point of view. They're a dangerous side, they're a talented side, we know a lot about them. And 2 wins, all of a sudden, they're bang amongst that group above them. Delighted that the position that we're in, but from our point of view, you see it, and you see what happened when Nigel Pearson went into Watford straight away, got results, and all of a sudden they climbed out of it. And I've had experience of that. You get a couple of results. It's a fantastic result against Leicester, one of the standout sides. They go to Tottenham, and make a couple of changes and go through on penalties. So, dangerous game for us, and dangerous game in terms of the quality and the drive that they will have. Everybody wants to be in the Premier League. Everybody wants to do well in the Premier League. Players, managers, supporters, everybody wants to stop in the Premier League. They will be doing absolutely everything in their powers to get results, to make sure they retain Premier League status. And without stating the obvious, there's 30 points to play for, and they can take points off anybody.
Just quickly, I realise I banged this particular drum, but contracts, any
Yeah.
update?
Yeah, keep going, and we hopefully might have a bit of news in the next 48 hours regarding one of the players. So another one ticked off. As always, it does take time, and yeah, I'll say the same things. I do believe 100% all of the boys that we're talking to will want to commit, and if we can keep ticking them off one by one, week by week, then I'll be delighted.
Top, thank you.
Cheers.
Hi Chris, just another one on McGoldrick. Obviously strikers are judged on goals, and I just wondered when he was going through that drought, whether his head ever dropped. Did it get to him?
No, it wouldn't. He'd have been disappointed, but he didn't because of his performances. I kept picking him still because what he brought to the team, out of possession and in possession. I look at that period, when he was playing, his performance at Spurs, where obviously, we thought he might have got off the mark. Whether it was, as we talked about, John's big toe or the second phase or whatever it's talked about and called, but his performances were really good, and he was part of, and has been part of, the group that's won games of football and picked up points. So. We have faith in Didsey. The players do, the staff do, the supporters do. But great for him to get off the mark. He's obviously not played a lot of football over the last month, 6 weeks because of an injury. But now to get him back, for him to score, get him up to speed, added to the likes of Zivkovic, Sharpie, McBurney, Mousset. It's a good group that we've got at the top of the pitch and good options.
Any more before we go to Saturdays?
Hi Chris.
Hiya.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. You're in contention for the European places, quarter-finals of the FA Cup. Is there any danger that you'll prioritise one over the other, or is it full tilt at both?
Full tilt, yeah, full tilt. You read my mind. 100% on to the next game. It has to be. All to play for. Potentially 11 league games and hopefully a little bit longer in the FA Cup would be fantastic for the football club. Been out of the spotlight for quite a while now, and glad that we're doing everybody proud in terms of our performances in the league and cup competitions.